Welcome, everyone, to the Bucks County Living Podcast. I'm your host, Alex Neff, your real estate resource. Today, I am joined by my good friend, Ellen Breiner, the Vice President and Regional Manager of Trident Land Transfer, and also works in my office at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Fox and Roach. Welcome, Ellen.
Thank you for inviting me, Alex. I'm very excited about this.
I'm so excited to have you on here because I think, some of the work that you and your team do behind the scenes in order to really make a smooth real estate transaction is something that's important for everyone, not just in Bucks County, but all around the country, that they should really know about. And of course, Pennsylvania has some different title stuff compared to state by state. But I really think it's important that people kind of know that buying a house isn't always as simple as buying a cup of coffee.
Exactly.
So can you tell me how you got into title work in the first place?
Sure. I was a very curious person getting out of college, and I wanted to know how to buy a house because I was living at home. So I took real estate classes first and got licensed. And then I sold new homes, new construction. And then from there, I went to a mom and pop mortgage company who also owned a mom and pop title company. So we were all in the same building together. And then I got curious about title insurance, and I took title classes at night while I worked during the day, and I got licensed. And then I worked for a mortgage company that had their own title company. And from there, I got recruited to Trident Land Transfer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you were a licensed agent selling new construction homes.
Yes.
And, new construction is, I'm sure there were big, beautiful homes. And was this all in Bucks County?
Well, I started in upstate New York with
Okay.
my father. He became a general contractor after building his dream retirement home. And the owners of the land up there wanted him to build their house. So he needed help. So I went up there to help him. And then I moved back down to beautiful Bucks County to be with my fiance, who is from Churchville, Pennsylvania.
So that's excellent. So you're selling these brand new construction homes in upstate New York, and you're licensed in an office that also has title, that also has mortgage, similar to how we have Prosperity and the Trident group here with Fox and Roach. And you get curious about title and title insurance and everything that goes along with it. And then you were taking night classes. And then you said you got licensed. So do you need a separate license in order to do title work? Or is that more of like just getting a notary license?
In order to own a title agency, you have to be licensed
Okay.
in Pennsylvania. But to conduct closings and if you're an employee, you do not need to be licensed.
Okay. Excellent.
Yep.
Excellent.
I just went all the way,
Yeah.
in case.
Yeah. Full speed ahead.
Yeah.
That's great. So what I think a big question that people normally have when buying a home, especially their first home, is what is title? Why is it so important to buying a home or selling a home? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So it's very important that the new homeowner buy title insurance. It is part of the agreement of sale. You should never waive your option because it is the protection of your home ownership. Okay? So you get a deed at the closing table, like in a settlement room like this. We hand you a copy of the deed that the seller signed. So that's your proof of ownership, but all the 127 steps to get to the closing have to be done by a professional title agency in order to pave the path to get to the closing. So just like the agreement of sale, there's inspection periods, understanding the agreement. There's a path that the mortgage company will take, and then the path that the title company takes, make sure all the seller's issues are cleared up, that we have payoff certifications. Like I said, it's 127 steps, but it gets the buyer to the settlement, and then the fun part starts there with the money. So the title insurance agency gets to collect all the money at closing and disperse it out. So do you remember the game Monopoly?
Yeah.
So just to put this in simple terms, okay? You land on Boardwalk and you want to buy it, right? You want to buy that real estate. Well, you used to get a deed with the property. So a buyer gets the deed, and then they pay the banker the money, and then the seller gets the money. Now, with title insurance, it's part of your closing costs, and it's different from other insurances. Should I get into that now?
Yeah, please, because I think it's important to have the title insurance. And we were just talking earlier that somebody the other day, waived it at the table.
Right.
And I was really curious as to why, because it can really protect you from a lot of crazy stuff that happens, especially nowadays with fraud and stuff like that. But I'd love to have you explain more about why title insurance is so important.
So it's important because it's protecting you. We're making sure that the seller actually owns the property too, because there's a lot of fraud out there and forgery. We're making sure all the legal documents that are filed in the county are accurate. But a lot of times, title claims are because of human error, indexing items at the county level. So if you waived title insurance and there was an issue later on, you would have to retain an attorney to help fix it because it's a legal document or usually a legal issue. With title insurance, the premium is paid one time at closing, and you get a title insurance policy, and that stays in effect for as long as you own the home.
Wow.
So other insurance, car insurance, you might pay monthly, every 6 months, annually. They're expecting a claim, and you pay that continually. But with title insurance, it's paid one time, and all the due diligence is usually done before closing. But if there is a claim in the future, it could be very costly. So you want to consider your premium as like a retainer for future defense, meaning you would get legal defense if needed.
Yeah, and I think that's really important to highlight because in order to retain an attorney, not only is it expensive to put them on the retainer, but then it's also expensive because they're charging you billable hours.
Exactly.
And you ask them to do 5 hours worth of work, you're already well past what it costs for an enhanced policy on title.
Correct.
So especially nowadays with, there are so many different ways, so many things that can go sideways in a transaction. I mean, you said 127 steps. That's very specific, and that is a lot of steps to be able to, from the moment an offer is accepted to the closing table, which is why typically things take, anywhere from, I've worked with investors in the past that claim to close in 10 days, but, there's a lot that goes in those 10 days. It's like a mosh pit almost. But, in a typical retail transaction, it's 30 days, 45 days if you can really stretch it out because it's a lot that goes into
it's a lot behind the scenes. It's an interesting career because it is kind of abstract. A lot of people don't understand what we do, and there's entry-level positions that open too, and it could be a good career or starter if you just don't know what you want to do, or if you're in real estate and you're curious like I was. There's a lot of different departments because there's a pre-closing department, there's the closing department, and then there's also post-closing, where documents are getting recorded and sent back to the homeowner and to the lender. And one of the other things I didn't mention was if you're a buyer and you're getting a mortgage, the mortgage company requires a full title search and title insurance for the lender. So you might as well buy it as a buyer too.
Right, because the mortgage company wants to protect their asset that they're putting the money out for.
Right, and so why wouldn't you want to protect your investment?
Right.
Which could be the largest investment you've done in your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now, what kind of things can actually affect title? Because going to real estate school, we hear about these things like mechanics liens and judgments and things like that. Could you talk about like how how some of these things come to pass. Why would there be a mechanics lien? What does that even mean? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. Mechanics liens is one of the top claims that the title underwriters disclose to us, of how much they cost per year. So if you hire a contractor to do any work on your house, and you don't pay them, they can file a claim at the courthouse that you didn't pay them, and it becomes a mechanics lien. When the builders start construction, they usually start with clearing the lot, meaning knocking the trees down. And then they start excavating and building the home, and then they sell it to you. If you didn't get mechanics lien coverage on the title insurance, and that builder didn't pay that bulldozer who first started, then there's a mechanics lien that you could be liable for.
Oh, wow.
So mechanics liens is very interesting because it's kind of like a free-for-all, because they can just file a lien without an actual court hearing. So with Trident Land Transfer, we vet the builders, and we make sure they pay their contractors. We ask our underwriter, can we issue mechanics lien coverage with the homeowner, the title insurance policy?
That's interesting. So I guess that's just like it would be kind of rolled in on the line item of the Alta as the title insurance, but it would be there would be also be like a mechanics lien insurance in that
It's
enhanced
free.
Policy.
It's free.
Oh, it is free.
It's all in Pennsylvania. It's all inclusive.
Awesome.
But it's we have to do some investigation work on the builder
Right.
that's building the home.
Right. You don't want to just start throwing out mechanics lien coverage for anybody, because that means that,
Right,
I could
because
go-
then
I
it could be a claim that we have to pay.
yeah, I could get my roof
Yeah.
redone and just not pay the guy, and then
Yeah.
and then next thing you know, but I have that title insurance that covered me with the mechanics lien. So no, that's great that you actually vet the people before you sign off on giving them that.
That's a requirement because years ago, a lot of builders went bankrupt, and there was mechanics liens being paid out by the title underwriter. So then a new process went in place, was now we have to vet the builder.
Yeah, that sounds like
So,
circa
you
like
learn
08,
from-
09,
yeah,
back
exactly.
back after the crash, and nobody was
And as a
building homes.
homeowner, everybody likes to improve their home, HDTV,
Yeah.
but you have to pay your contractors because they might file a lien, and a lot of times this doesn't come up until when you go to sell your home. Okay, most of the title issues come up when the seller puts the house on the market, and then there's a new title search done. So some of those things could be federal IRS liens. They're not paying their taxes, and that's a lien on the real estate, so that has to be addressed. So our search would reveal that. A lot of times sellers don't know, or they say they don't know about these judgments.
Right.
So really, we're working with the seller usually on the issues. If they didn't pay their sewer bill and it's a lien on the property, everything has to be paid, at closing or before closing.
Right.
It's really important for us to protect the consumer or the buyer, especially if they're your client, because going forward, we don't want it to reflect on you, that there was an issue. So
Exactly. So in layman's, for the buyers and sellers that are listening or watching, if you don't pay your contractor and you own the home, they can put what's called a mechanics lien on your property, which means that they have a right to some sort of monetary compensation when you do go to sell the home.
exactly.
And as the buyer, you purchase the title insurance to protect you as the new buyer of this property, so that this contractor can't come after you as well.
Correct.
And then, I guess as the title company, as a licensed title company able to practice abstract in Pennsylvania, it would be your job to take some of the proceeds from that sale to pay off that lien, to
Yes.
pay off the judgments, and then would give the net to the seller.
Exactly.
Okay. Okay. I think it's interesting, because there's definitely a lot of like mysticism and mystery that
is.
swirls around title because like you said, it's such an abstract concept.
And the items don't come up until the house is under contract for sale. It's sort of like you don't check your credit report, right, until you want to borrow money
Right.
sometimes. And then you say, oh, why is that affecting my credit report?
Yeah.
So with title, it's the same thing. We do a full search, and then we tell the seller, oh, did you know about A, B, and C? A lot of times they honestly didn't know, or they forgot about it, or it's an estate,
Right.
so it has to be addressed. And that's where, my job gets really interesting.
Now, I've heard of something called a cloud on a title.
Mm-hmm.
How is that compared to a mechanic's lien or a judgment?
So we have one right now where it was it was a mortgage that the husband and wife took out. They paid it off. The mortgage was paid off, completely down to zero. But the mortgage companies never go back and release that old mortgage of public record. So it still shows up in public record as a mortgage on the property for the full amount.
Oh.
So that's your cloud on title.
Okay.
And that is a common thing that happens, that our conveyancers come across every day.
So how do you clear up the cloud like that?
So we have to investigate it. It takes time. You try to call the lender. You find out what lender took over which lender, because a lot of them went out of business. We have a vendor that's very good at it. Sometimes we have to tell the seller that we'll hold money in escrow at closing, because again, we're protecting the consumer, the buyer. And it's usually enough money to hire an attorney to take action in court to quiet that title.
Right.
So you've heard clouds on title, and then there's a court, there's a steps you can do throughout the courts to quiet that title issue.
That's one thing I do love about Trident Land Transfers, because we literally send you guys on a wild goose chase sometimes to find, it's like bringing people back from the dead almost.
Yeah.
Because you said that husband and wife, they had that mortgage company and it read zero. Is that mortgage company even in existence anymore? And if it's not, then who do you go to? So it's really just like we really just send you. It's like you're chasing after ghosts here.
And sometimes we find them and the mortgage isn't paid off.
Yeah.
So that's a whole nother path that, we end up going down. So
Yeah.
that's why it's very interesting, the whole process, learning every day.
Right.
These challenges or opportunities to learn and work together.
Yeah. So in my estimation, I think the closing costs, the title insurance, everything is well earned.
Oh yeah.
Because you really are able to streamline and make everything so smooth in a transaction whenever I have buyers that want to buy a home. And I always recommend Trident Land Transfer. Now, I want to make a disclaimer. I'm not allowed, as a real estate licensee, I'm not allowed to push any certain title company. It is completely up to the buyers. Exactly. It's completely up to the buyers to choose whatever title company they wish. But I always refer to Trident because we work in the same office. It's very easy to get information, to really work together to make everything, to make everybody happy, to make sure that we make it to the table.
It's cost effective because you're not wasting your time. We are a third party, but we're accountable to answer to you and your client. We're not the .com company. You can't find us. Alex walks by my office every day, so I can't pretend that I didn't fix that problem.
Yeah.
We're accountable to you.
Exactly, and I'm accountable to you too. It goes both ways, because there are some days where my conveyancer is just like, hey, I need this, and I'm just like, I got it to you. I'm gonna get it for you right away, because it's like we're a team. We're all on the same team here, even though we're independent. We're all under the same umbrella. We're a team, and really the end result is just, how can we make this a great experience for the customer, for the client, for the buyer? So I think
Other
that's
things
wonderful.
that come up too on the title, for title claims, The claims, are low compared to like car insurance and health insurance. But if there is a claim, it could cost a lot of money. So, you had a closing today. If your buyer had a problem, they have a title insurance policy. So they just write a letter of what they think the claim is. And they will get a correspondence from a title underwriter attorney explaining their coverage or their protection. So it's, a legal defense. So if a neighbor is claiming that you have to move that garage off of their property, you can incur a loss. So the main thing to understand is if you're going to incur a loss, then you whip out your title insurance policy.
Interesting.
And you call Alex or me.
Yeah.
And we'll show you how to file a claim.
That's interesting. So you're the regional manager. What areas do you cover specifically?
Bucks and parts of Montgomery County.
Okay.
A couple of the offices down on the main line.
Okay.
Malvern, Rosemont. And then in Bucks County, New Hope, Southampton, Doylestown, and Yardley Newtown.
Which is best office in my opinion.
Yeah. Bucks County's great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What would you say your favorite part of the job is?
I love working with realtors, first-time buyers. My team, I love to train, hire, develop, really educate anybody in the whole process. It's very rewarding, and it's a complicated process. It's not rocket science, but you don't deal with it every day. So that's why, I like to explain it.
And you've done a wonderful job. I mean,
Thank
just
you.
talking about this morning, the closing, the whole system was down. Our settlement officer was writing paper checks by hand, and was really able to adapt to not being so reliant on the technology because it just wasn't available. The system was down.
Right, yeah.
So, you've done an excellent job of training the team.
Thank
and
you.
I have nothing but wonderful things to say about you and Trident and everybody that works in our office, just because it really is, anytime I have a question, anybody is more than happy to answer.
Yeah, I think it's in our nature to, be a people pleaser, but then to know, your job too is important. So, training, we do so much training. The goal is to make sure the closing goes smooth so that your buyer is happy and they remember Alex.
Yeah.
We are very behind the scenes. We're handling money and payoffs and mortgages, very important stuff. But again, it's all about the experience. So
all they see is that figurehead on closing day, passing the papers. Here's this, here's that. This is what this means. This is what that means. Which I think is also great that the settlement officers really explain everything very clearly and are happy to answer questions for the clients too at the table, and it can really kind of if there's anything that goes sideways, can really navigate any storm that might come to the closing table.
Yeah, we're familiar with mortgage documents,
Right.
settlement documents, and closing costs. So, you do your part is find the house, understand the agreement of sale, right? And then we kind of take it from there and, create the smooth path and, a great experience.
Yeah, and it's wonderful to work with Trident. I have nothing
you.
but good things to say about it. Awesome. So next I like to move into a segment called The Big Three. So
Okay.
these are the three questions that I ask everyone that comes on the podcast. My first question for you, Ellen, is what do you think makes Bucks County a great place to live?
Well, in real estate 101 is location, 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 right? You probably had that answer before.
It's such a prime location.
It is. I mean, and it's affordable. So it's the location affordability compared to New York City, North Jersey, yet we're 90 minutes to Broadway, right? We're close to the best beaches on the East Coast, the Jersey Shore beaches, 90 minutes to 2 hours. And then our real estate taxes are, low compared to New Jersey.
Got that right.
And then even the DC area is so expensive. We have culture, history. Look at George Washington, cross the Delaware here. And then it's so beautiful. It's beautiful, especially in the fall, which is tomorrow, I think, or
Yeah.
Friday, first day of fall.
Right around the corner. So when this airs, it's going to air in November. So we're going to be well
Okay.
into fall
Okay,
when this
yeah.
episode airs.
Right, there might be some leaves
Yeah.
left on the tree.
Yeah, a couple. Hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully it's a nice mild fall. And
Yeah,
even
so
more-
drive up through New Hope or around Peddler's Village, Bowman's Tower,
all
It's
beautiful
just,
places.
yeah, you can't help but to like it, and it's not far.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything's like, and yeah, everything's Bucks County's huge, but like it really only takes like 20, 30 minutes to really get anywhere in the county where you need to be.
Yeah, it's a
So,
great place to live.
Yeah. Awesome. What would you say your favorite restaurant is in Bucks County?
All of Bucks County. Well, I live in Newtown, so I don't get out too much, but I always like La Stalla
Ooh, very
in
good.
Newtown.
Great
They're
Italian
consistent.
food. Yeah.
It's sort of like, familia.
Yeah.
I've been to Italy, and some of their dishes, makes me feel like, it gives me a nice experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like real
and
authentic.
consistent. Yeah.
That's awesome. I mean, Newtown is beautiful. You have everything you need. And are you in the borough or the township?
No, I'm in the township
Okay.
on the border of Wrightstown.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
Beautiful. It's so nice over there. It
Yeah.
really is.
it is.
All of
I
Newtown is
lived in
great.
Ben Salem for 21 years.
Okay.
And then moved to Newtown 10 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so
Ben Salem's great too because you're literally
Oh,
right on
yeah.
the edge of the city.
exactly.
Yeah.
We were closer to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
And then the convenience of, everything being around with shopping and, the highways too.
Yep.
It's still near and dear to my heart, that's for sure.
Awesome. And my last question is, where can people find out more about you and Trident Land Transfer?
Okay, so tridentland.com. We have our website was revamped probably less than a year ago. So there's 2 links. One's I'm a consumer or I'm a professional. But if you go up to like our team, I'm in there as regional manager, a little bit personal about me. And then there's really great educational flyers there too about what is title insurance, what is the enhanced policy, and you can see it all there. You can see our team, you can order title through there, but most of our business is through referral.
Awesome.
So thank you.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ellen.
You're welcome.
Thank you for being an awesome staple in our office, in the community. I mean,
Thank you.
if you do a transaction in Bucks County and you're going through Trident Land Transfer, rest assured that it's going through Ellen's hands and you're in great hands.
Thanks,
So,
Alex. I appreciate the
thank-
support.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
as always, I'm your host, Alex Neff. Make sure to reach out if you have any questions about Bucks County living.